Hey there, welcome to the channel. So today is April 24th, Sunday, April 24th, and we're going to take a look at the setup for the stock markets next week. Okay, so last week, what we had is, we had really kind of a sell-off on those last 2 days. So it gave us, if we're looking at the SPY here, we can see that, we ended with a pretty significant down week, really kind of looking to try to seal in that kind of a bear market. It almost looks like we're really kind of staying in there. The Dow Jones is below there. Our Qs are, our Qs actually are kind of racing, towards these lows. So, it's something that's really actually very well could become a very pivotal week on like the Qs because, and also not only on the Qs, but the which the Qs has speculative stuff, but even on the more speculative stuff in like the ARC, where this is really at these lows. Now, this close, we've closed below the lows here. We didn't close on that week, but we're right at that range. So you're right at that point. So it's a really pivotal week here. Is this thing going to find a way, find some support, et cetera, and start coming back up and, hold this line, or are we gonna, break right through this? So it's very kind of pivotal week. So what's going on right now is also what is going to affect things next week is that we're in earnings season. So there's a lot of earnings coming out. So we have a variety of things going on. First of all, we have our 30-year fixed mortgages. Just going to bankrate.com, looking there, you see 5.28%. So this is much higher than it's been for a very long time. So what is going to be going on? We have a lot of earnings from different companies right now. And so what we really want to see is we want to see if they're being impacted by this, by the inflation. So we've had very high inflation. And so this is where one area we could potentially have downside, right? You have a lot of companies reporting. We have companies like Apple, Amazon, Facebook. We have the energy companies. We even have like D.R. Horton is reporting. So you even have some housing reporting. So here we can look at the calendar from Yahoo. We can see all these companies. Like on Monday, there's 184, 180, 284, 308. So this is a lot of companies reporting this week. So given the high inflation that we've had, one of the things to look at is, are these companies seeing high inflation? Are they able to pass price increases that they have for them? Are they able to pass that on? Are they not able to pass it on? What's going on there? Then in addition, you have the high interest rates. And so one of the questions that's going to be on there is when you look at something like some of the home builders like D.R. Horton, like what's going on there? Are they in a position where are they seeing any decline in the sales of their homes? Are they seeing activity dropping off, anything like that? So that's the kind of thing that I think that we have to kind of watch out for this week. Now, just a quick summary here. I will share some of the economic events coming up. So at the same time, you have economic events and you have a very heavy earning week. Okay, so for example, like here on Tuesday, so there's nothing on Monday, so that's good. But on Tuesday, you have this durable orders. So that's, that's purchasing of things that like, refrigerator, things like that, bigger things like that. So, this is an indicator of confidence, et cetera, before the market on Tuesday. And then you have Case-Shiller and consumer confidence. And then there you go, you got the new home sales. So it'll be kind of interesting to see like, or how are the new home sales are doing? Are they okay? Or are we starting to see big impact? Then on Wednesday, we got the mortgage applications index. And so that and pending home sales. So these kind of two things together will kind of give an indication as to how things are going with the housing market. Has the rates started to really hit the housing market at this point? Then if we look for like Tuesday and Thursday, so yeah, we're getting a GDP number. So that's interesting. So 1% GDP. I don't know if it's possible the economy is slowing more than expected. That could be a surprise there. No idea if that would be the case or not, but it's something to maybe watch out for. On the other hand, it could be positive. Maybe it comes in better, and that would give an indication that, hey, things, companies are holding up, earnings are holding up. The other thing over here on Friday, Chicago purchasing managers, and then really personal income and spending. These are kind of indicators of the economy, and PCE prices. So this is another type of inflation indicator. So that would be another place to kind of look at and kind of see if, like, hey, are we turning the quarter in that inflation? So you could have a little bit of bullish sentiment if it's like, hey, PCE prices are showing that inflation may be inflecting and may have already peaked, et cetera. If not, then, that can maybe put some pressure on the market. So really what seems to be the setup for this week is that with these things, you never know what's going to happen, but you have this situation where you have a lot of earnings going on. And so the question is going to be, and importantly, you have very influential companies. So like on Thursday here, if we look at Thursday, I believe Thursday is going to be Apple is one of the companies that's reporting. And do I see? Yeah. So Apple is reporting after the market close. And there's all kinds of other companies. During the week, there's Amazon reporting, Facebook, and other companies, like I was saying. So, some of these bellwether kind of stocks can be followed, they'll be followed a lot, and they could lead to some basically volatility in the market if the numbers aren't what they expect to be. So that's one thing to kind of watch out. And then by Friday, it should be, we're only down to 44 companies reporting. So that should be, hopefully everything will settle out by then. So that's what's we're set up with for this week. I don't really know what else to say about it. I think that we'll just have to watch and see. I think, keep an eye on me, Kevin. He seems to like follow all these earnings reports really well and all that stuff, and we'll see. Now, the other thing too, that I'm starting to think may not happen is, I was speculating that, hey, Macron, it looks like Macron has won. They've declared Macron has won in France. And now that kind of clears away a potential uncertainty. And hence, if the EU wanted to follow through on banning Russian oil, now would be the time where they would consider doing it. But then it's interesting. There's some, from some of the German politicians, there's some backpedaling on that. So it may, in fact, be the case that this is not going to happen. It very well may not happen. So really hard to say. Either way, the oils are still compressing. They're still compressing on a symmetrical triangle, maybe an ascending triangle, depending how you draw it. It's sort of also like a pennant. You got your flagpole here, and these are the kind of things going on. You have an uptrend from before, you have an uptrend here, and this is sort of an uptrend too, but it's just so steep, it's so steep. So a lot of these patterns are continuation patterns, meaning that normally what happened in a continuation pattern, that nothing is 100% at all, obviously. So, it may only be like 60% of continuation patterns actually continue to go in the previous trend or not, whatever that number is. And that numbers are changing all the time. You can go gather the stats, but it's changing all the time. So we are compressing. So on top of everything else that's going on, so you got 500 companies reporting earnings, you got some economic stuff coming out, not a lot, but there's some that could be market moving. On top of that, you got oil's got to make a decision here. Basically it's getting to this point where it's typically, you can see these typically at some point, it's either going to pop out and start going to the upside, or it's going to break down and start going to the downside. So that is the nature of these continuation patterns. Often they will just need to compress to a point where it's like, okay, it's got to go somewhere. It's got to make a move. And of course they can fake out too. They can fake out to the downside and then reverse and go up, and they can fake out to the upside and then go down. It's very tricky, but usually there'll be some volatility. So that would be what I'm speculating on, and it's not financial advice, just kind of thinking about things that could happen. What keeping an eye on is like, hey, oil can make a move this week. If if the EU backs off from their threats on banning Russian oil, which of course they should back off because they're too reliant on it. Yeah, but that's another story. But if they back off on that, then maybe oil will just break to the downside. Very likely, if a lot of what's in this oil prices of the speculation that there'll be more banning of Russian oil and hence there'll be more shortage of it and the price will go up. So that's another thing to keep our minds on this week. So when we're looking and trading in the market, so we got several different things going on. So the first big thing I think is we're deep in earnings. So we got to see what's happening with those companies. I work for a living, and so I got a lot of work coming on this week. So go watch me, Kevin. He'll keep you up to date on what's going on with the earnings and stuff like that. Second thing is, some kind of movement in oil because it's just compressing to the point whether the EU does something or not, compressing on that. And then the final thing is some of the kind of the inflation readings that we're getting in from the economics. So the inferred inflation, is it getting better, whatever. Also that GDP number, is that GDP number that they're going to give us, is it going to meet the expectations, is it not? So you got all these three things playing around for this week. So all I can say is yeah, good luck with that.